Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 27th Annual Alumni of Distinction Awards for St. Clair College. Welcome, everybody. Tonight, the family of 113 is how many we have. The family has grown to 113 people in the 52 years of St. Clair College are being honored tonight. So the last batch of 2019 honorees we're going to celebrate tonight. But before we do, we want to invite one of our Alumni of Distinction, Chief Dan Muskokanen from Walpole Island, to start our evening. Chief Dan.
Bonjour, Muskokanen Dishnakaz, Mampi, Bekajunan Dunjaba. What I said is that my name is Muskokanen. In our language, it means red knife. So you call me either or, depending on the mood we're in. But what I want to do tonight is get a land acknowledgement that you're sitting in our traditional territory. It's called the Three Fires, which is made up of Ottawa, Chippewa, and Potawatomi. And we're signatories of that, and I'd like to present the president with a gift from Walpole. It's a flag from our territory, and I'm very honored and humbled to give it to her, just to let her know every time you see waving this in the air at the free breeze that comes across the states, that she's sitting in our territory. So with that, I appreciate that, and again, it's nice to come home here. When I went to school, again, it's part of coming home back to my family, and I really enjoy being here and sharing the fellowship and getting to know the real smart people in this world. And it's good to hobnob once in a while. Gwetch.
For those of you who've watched the past Alumni Distinction honoree evenings, he was a hockey player. I wouldn't want to be elbowed by him, and any land he wants, he gets, because I ain't going to mess with him in a corner. Welcome. At this time, I'd like to invite the president of St. Clair College to give us her opening remarks. President Patty France.
Thank you, John. On behalf of the college's administration and the entire St. Clair family, it is a pleasure to welcome you to the St. Clair College Center for the Arts for our annual recognition and celebration of our Alumni of Distinction. Tonight, we are paying tribute to 6 individuals who have built remarkable careers and made beneficial contributions to their communities, and in some cases over the course of several decades. And let's put this into perspective for our honorees. Chantal, Christopher, Barb, Larry, Justin, and Nicholas. Next month, by the conclusion of June's convocation ceremonies, St. Clair's 52-year-old alumni family will have swelled to approximately 110,000 graduates. Of those to date, only 105 individuals have been named as Alumni of Distinction. The 6 of you will bring that number to 111. If my math is correct, I believe that means that each of you represents a truly rare, truly admirable, truly award-worthy 1 in 1,000 level of achievement. We'll all have the pleasure of hearing about the professional and personal journeys this evening, and I'm happy that this year's graduates will also have the opportunity to be inspired by them. It has become our tradition for our Alumni of Distinction recipients to act as our guest speakers during our convocations. So we'll be welcoming our award recipients to the podium at those ceremonies later this year. Also, later in the year, they will be honored again. Each college's honored alumni automatically become nominees for the Provincial Premier's Award, which recognizes the Ontario-wide excellence of the college system and the contributions of its graduates. So our brightest and our best will be making a trip to Toronto for that presentation during the college's Ontario Higher Education Summit in December. Again, on behalf of the entire St. Clair College family, it is truly my pleasure to extend congratulations to Barb, Nicholas, Larry, Chantal, Justin, and Christopher. The honor is very much deserving, and we are all so very proud of you. Congratulations.
And now I'd like to introduce the Allison Rustling Bigelow, Executive Vice President of the Alumni Association, to say a few words. Allison.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us as we celebrate the amazing accomplishments of our 2019 Alumni of Distinction Award recipients, who we all look forward to learning more about as we go through our program this evening. Now, if we were to go back to the day you graduated and ask, what would lie ahead of you? I'm sure none of you could have foreseen the stories that were about to be written. No doubt, each of you have had ups and downs, challenges and surprises, but you've never given up. Each of your stories inspire and motivate all of us. You stand as incredible role models for current St. Clair students, previous award recipients, your fellow alumni, faculty, and everyone in attendance this evening. When I think about how to describe an alumni of distinction, there are just so many characteristics that come to mind. Dedicated, innovative, brilliant, persistent, and of course, that they all started here at St. Clair College. It is that very fact that makes us just so proud. So on behalf of the Alumni Board of Directors and the 100,000 and growing St. Clair College alumni, congratulations. Your hard work and dedication has enhanced our community and our college, and we welcome you home.
And now I'd like to introduce the Chair of the Board of Governors for St. Clair College, Dan Allen.
Thank you, John. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I am honored to be with you as we welcome the newest members to St. Clair College family of distinguished alumni. It has been a great year at the college, and your board has enjoyed celebrating a number of milestones. For example, the opening of the Zeckelman School of Business and IT campus in downtown Windsor, the opening of the National Powerline Training Center at our Chatham campus, and the start of our new Windsor Sportsplex. These initiatives are the result of hard work and inspiration of college administration and the students under the leadership and guidance of our president, Patty France. And we are proud to say that this is the 27th year in which the college has recognized the successes and contributions of former students who have excelled in their vocation and contributed to their community. Our students, past and present, are the beneficiaries of an investment in knowledge and practical skills coupled with real-life experiences that form the foundation of their career when they leave the college. Tonight's award honorees have each been on a unique journey, each of their paths starting at St. Clair College. Their quest for achievement, however, did not stop here. They have gone on to enrich business, culture, technology, society, and health. Their stories are unique and stand as an inspiration to all of us. Tonight, you will learn about each member of the 2019 class of St. Clair's Alumni of Distinction. They join a unique group of high-achieving individuals. Previous year's distinguished alumni who act as college ambassadors, assisting the Board of Governors and the senior management group in one of our most important strategic goals. That is, to ensure that St. Clair College is and will continue to be a destination college. So on behalf of the Board of Governors, I congratulate our honorees as we recognize and celebrate their outstanding achievements. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce our MPP for Chatham-Kent-Leamington, Rick Nichols.
Well, it's an honor again to be here. You know, I remember the very first, back in 1992, a school buddy of mine, actually, we were in the same class. We were in business administration here at St. Clair College. Yes, I graduated back in 72. Andy Foss. Andy actually was the very first recipient of the Alumni Award of Distinction. And I see Andy not a whole lot anymore, but he's still around and doing very, very well. But this is the 8th time now as the member of provincial parliament for previously Chatham-Kent-Essex and now Chatham-Kent-Leamington. You know, it's an honor for me to be here. And I would like to congratulate the award winners this evening. It's a true recognition, an award of distinction that I know that you have not just taken your education and said, okay, put it on the shelf, but you've done something with it. And I want to encourage you to continue. For those of you out in the audience, again, maybe some of you are still kind of working towards that career, work hard. I often would tell people, I taught 1 year actually at St. Clair back at Thames campus in Chatham. And I used to tell my students, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And there's a lot of truth in that statement as well. So again, congratulations to our award winners. Congratulations to the organizers of this outstanding 27th annual. Looking forward to the 28th and the 29th and maybe even the 30th, if I get reelected again, but we'll see on that. But again, thank you so much. John, thank you. President Patty, Dan, thank you so much.
Maybe we'll pass the ballots out now. We'll see how he does. And now I'd like to introduce our warden of Essex County, as well as our mayor of Tecumseh, Gary McNamara.
Well, thank you very much, John. And good evening, everyone, and President France and Mr. Allen. And I say that not very lightly, but I say. But good evening, everyone, and I'm honored to be here celebrating an incredible achievement of some truly remarkable people. I bring congratulations to all the honorees from the County of Essex. We are blessed in this region to have such a dedicated and passionate residents and such an array of talent. We're also blessed to have an amazing educational institution like St. Clair College, led by an accomplished and inspirational champion like Patty France. Patty, the college has blossomed under your leadership and is poised for even greater things. St. Clair College has been producing some of the best and the brightest graduates in all of Canada for more than half a century. Their talents and good works enrich our community, our province, our province, and our country. This year's honorees are a reflection of the wide diversity of quality programming at St. Clair, a living testament to the slogan that you can start there and you can go anywhere. The life lessons you learn at St. Clair College, the experience and confidence you gain, and the connections you make help lay the foundation for an inspired future wherever your path may lead you. Chantal Bacon Magri is just one great example. She graduated from the hairstylist program in 2014, became the co-founder of a registered charity whose mission is to improve the lives of children suffering from cancer. Chantal, your son Mason was an inspiration to all of us by the way he stood up to cancer like a real superhero. And Mason touched more lives in 4 years than most people will ever do in a lifetime. His spirit lives on in the tremendous work being done by the Fight Like Mason Foundation. I'd also like to personally congratulate Justin Lammers, who works for the County of Essex and as Deputy Chief of Essex Windsor EMS, the finest paramedic service in all of our nation. Justin has been instrumental and driving a culture of change at the EMS so that greater attention is paid to issues of mental health. He also worked to develop the groundbreaking Vulnerable Patient Navigator program and improve access to saving defibrillators across our region. Congratulations, Justin. You do Essex County proud. Tonight's other nominees, Christopher Bozzato, Barb Brown, Larry Kozachelsky, and Nicholas Sigian, are likewise exceptional in everything that they do. They have parlayed their St. Clair College diplomas into successful careers in animation, early childhood education, computer science, and technology and robotics. You are an exceptional community ambassadors and role models, and you are shining lights to current and future St. Clair College students. And the County of Essex congratulates you on your success and wishes you a healthy and prosperous future. Thank you.
Well, now to balance things off, how about our Ward 2 councillor, Fabio Costante. Now, this is Fabio's first big trip to the big show here since he got elected. Come on over here, you're in the light here. It's a big light, you're shy. So you've heard now from the MPP, you know, Windsor, Chatham, Kent, Leamington. You got the big man from the county and everything. So no pressure on you from Ward 2. But how about you speak for everybody in the city of Windsor?
Will do. We'll try. I'll try. I'll try my best. All right.
Fabio.
Hello, everyone. So I don't know how to follow up to that introduction. Thanks, John. Good evening, everyone. Ms. France, Mr. Allen, fellow West Ender, Mr. Allen, and Ms. Rustling Bigelow, thank you for having us. On behalf of the Mayor and the City of Windsor, a heartfelt congratulations to all of the recipients this evening at these 27th Annual Alumni of Distinction. I had the opportunity to briefly peruse the candidates this evening and notice that all of the individuals were enrolled in different programs here at the college, all chose different career paths. Some still live here in Windsor, Essex, and some live all throughout Ontario and Michigan. And really, to me, it was reflective of the diversity of opportunity here at the college and the diversity of programs that are offered here at the college. And also a testament, as Mayor McNamara said, of the college's slogan, that we start here, but that you can go anywhere. So again, on behalf of the Mayor of Windsor and the City Council, congratulations and best of luck in your continued success. Thank you.
Not bad. We'll keep you. How about we keep you around for 3 more years? He did a good job, didn't he? We have got, yes, he did. Look at that. Fan club over here. Look at this. They're probably not even, they're probably Ward 1. As we talk about all of our honorees tonight, it gave me a thrill to be able to go and sit down for a couple hours and get to know them, to hear the stories come alive that I had read about or the nomination paper told us about. And each one of them, each 6 honorees tonight, had quite a story. So tonight, we're going to put up a picture. Every so often, it's kind of the thing that just kept me focused. There's the picture. Windsor, Essex became ready for a fight. And all together, Windsor, Essex, parts of Ontario, parts of Canada, parts of North America, parts of the world joined us in the fight. Tonight, you're going to hear the story of Chantal Bacon-Macri. Chantal and her husband Ian shared something very special. Watch the video. Chantel.
Growing up, my mom was actually a hairstylist, and she had her own salon in our house. So I was her little assistant for most of the days, and I would sweep up her hair and do all those things. And so definitely as I got older, I actually went to University of Western first. And then I got pregnant, so I came back home and I had Mason. And then from there I decided I wanted to do my creative path, and I went for the hairdressing program. I chose St. Clair because I heard the program was absolutely phenomenal, and everyone that went there before said the teachers were phenomenal, and everyone had fantastic jobs after, and all their skills were absolutely amazing. So I knew I wanted to go to St. Clair. So after I graduated St. Clair College, I went right into the field, and then sadly 4 months later our son was diagnosed with rhabdomyosarcoma cancer, and I completely stopped doing what I was doing. I dropped everything, and we were by his side for the entire 14 months of his battle. So Mason had rhabdomyosarcoma. It's a soft tissue cancer that affects not many kids, but it affects enough children. And in the spot that Mason had, it was in his pelvis, and it was about 10 centimeters when we found it. So pretty big. We went directly to London and Toronto, and we started his protocol right away. So Mason's journey, I was getting text messages and phone calls every day, and I just felt like it was too much for me to handle. So I figured I would do the Mason Fight page, and just to let family and friends know what was going on. I never imagined it would blow up to 17,000 followers and all over the world. The superhero theme came from my husband, who's a big superhero fan, and we had to figure out a way to tell Mason that he was sick without telling him he was sick or there was something wrong with him. So in all cancer patients, they get a port in their chest, and we decided that it wasn't going to be for medication, it wasn't going to be a medical thing. We decided it was just like Iron Man, what Iron Man has, and through that superhero port, he would get all his superpowers, and he never had chemo. He only got superpowers through IV and that, and it was about getting rid of the bad guys in him, and it never was about being sick or different. It was him embracing his superhero and becoming one of the Avengers once he was done. So the Fight Like Mason Foundation, the idea began when Mason became terminal, and we said his fight wasn't finished. Maybe his body was finished fighting, but his fight wasn't finished. And we told him, and we made a promise that we're going to continue to fight for him. 2 weeks after he passed, we did all the paperwork to become a registered charity. Since then, it's been an amazing ride. The biggest thing that we wanted was research and childhood cancer. Only 4% of our government funding actually goes to childhood cancer, and that's the entire umbrella of childhood cancer. So Mason's cancer only got 0.02% of funding, which pretty much means if he relapsed, which he did, and he progressed, that there was no more options for him. And we want to change that. So that's one of our biggest goals. And another big goal of ours is to make sure that these children are so proud of their battles. It's through the IV poles that we've created and the wheelchairs we've created and any step of the way in the hospital to make that child feel special, whether it's in Windsor, in London, in Toronto. We want to make sure those kids know that we're fighting with them and by their side. Ian loves superheroes and everything about superheroes, so by association, I also had to. And he decided that when Mason passed, we wanted to go into hospitals and bring smiles to children and make them feel like the superheroes from the movies are actually visiting them. So he found custom-made suits for him and I that were made from all over the world, and they are movie-grade outfits, or as he would call them, uniforms. And the kids believe that the characters from the movies are actually visiting them, which is absolutely amazing. Mason was our only child for 4 years, and then 3 months after he passed, we found out that we were expecting another little boy, and he was actually due around the time that Mason passed, which was scary, but also very special that we felt like he was sent to us because Mason didn't want us to be so heartbroken that month. His name is Miller, Miller Mace, so he's named after his brother. And then we also have a new little girl that just came 2 weeks ago, and her name is Piper Phoenix, which Phoenix represents rise from the ashes, so a part of her brother is in her. Miller loves superheroes, and his favorite superhero is Mace Man. Once he's old enough, once he's 4, we are going to get the outfit that's behind me here made for Miller, and he will go as Mace Man and encourage kids in the hospitals, like me and Ian do as well, and to let the kids know that they're not fighting alone. So far in 2 years, we are proud to announce that we have made $500,000, raised $500,000, and donated 400 of that as well. And for the future, we want to make Mason the next Terry Fox. You know, it's time for another child to take the torch and to bring awareness to cancer and just have him at that level. That's what our goal is.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's join the fight. Chantel Bacon-Macri, come on up.
You guys know how to make a woman who just had a baby very emotional, more than I already am. It's just incredible to see what Mason has done. Everything that I do is for him, and I went back to school for him at St. Clair College, and everything that comes around and everything that happens is for him. His birthday was actually yesterday, and I asked him for a sign, and I just waited the whole day to have a sign from him. And then I walked in here today. Everything was black and gold. Black is Mason's favorite color, and gold is childhood cancer awareness. And then they told us which table we had to sit at, which was the table number 4, which was his final year of life. And then, of course, this being the 27th year, marks that day was the last day I ever got to see him. So it's kind of special that even in the hardest moments, in the moments I look for Mason, he is right here with us. And it's so incredible that everyone in our community and everyone here today knows about Mason and knows his fight and is still fighting with us. And I want to thank my amazing family for coming along with this journey and this crazy idea that I had, and it's just absolutely incredible. So thank you, St. Clair College, and thank you everyone for continuing to fight like Mason.
Thank you, Chantel. Ian, what do you think? Like, do you think I got a chance? I mean, the shirt fit. Thank you, having big man sizes. But what do you think? Give it a shot. Okay. Boy, just think how much that uniform is going to have if I got to put one of those things on. It's the size of the cape I'm talking about. But thank you, thank you. What would it be like if you were creative, you enjoyed what you did, and you would be able to be part of a movie that just was watched by thousands, 100,000s, millions of people, to watch and see your handiwork in the claw of Wolverine and Logan. Tonight, we honor Chris Bozzetto. And Chris, able to see, sculpture, make, things appear. What a story. Let's watch.
I kind of chose St. Clair, partly because, the animation program just started up. And when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to do something with art, but I also started to really get into film and filmmaking. And I kind of wanted to do something with that too. And that's why animation seemed like this kind of perfect, merging of the two. Well, I think this program specifically is unique because it does give you a basis in both 2D and 3D, and the way that they kind of go, you build up your fundamentals in something like in 2D animation, and then gradually bring in the 3D stuff throughout is really unique compared to other programs, especially within the province. The rigors of the industry were often similar to the rigors of projects we had to work on here in the college. So everything wasn't too much of a shock. So I know students feel very overwhelmed by the amount of projects they have, the amount of assignments and everything, but it's not unlike how it's going to be in the industry. It's just you're going to get paid for it. I've been lucky enough to teach a class basically the past few semesters. And yeah, because of my schedule and the fact that my job is within Toronto, Rich has been great about setting up the class on Monday mornings. So my class is Monday morning, 8 a.m. to 11. And afterwards, I get right on the road and drive up the 401. I usually get back into Toronto around 2:30, 3 o'clock. And I'll work my shift from maybe about that time until 10:30 at night. And it's been a busy experience, but it's been a rewarding one. Honestly, the highlight of my career is just being able to do what I can do. Just being able to work on these films and being a part of the process. I wouldn't say that anything has necessarily stuck out one over the others. And what I like is how each project is a new task to tackle. It's a new problem to solve, and so I do enjoy the fact that I'm just being able to work on these different films. Some of my favorite ones to work on when we worked on Logan a couple years ago, one of the main antagonists has a robotic hand, and that was an asset that I was in charge of, and that personally was one of the more interesting and fun ones to work on. Also on Logan, I worked on Wolverine's claws, which was interesting because in that movie his claws are a little bit. It takes place in the kind of the near future, so he's a little bit older, more grizzled, so his claws have become really kind of old and pitted and worn with age, so it was kind of a more worn down version of his claws. And you have to make endless versions of it too, whether it be clean or with blood on it. I think it's always great to have talent, but you need the work ethic and the problem solving skills to put into it afterwards. It's an industry where things are always constantly going wrong. Everything's on fire all the time. So you're not always going to be able to ask somebody for help to put out those fires. So I always like to think that you should be very, very self-sufficient in this industry. So it isn't just an industry about having artistic talent. It's an industry that requires a lot of work and dedication and a lot of time, and of course a lot of critical thinking.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Bozzetto.
I'll have to write something down here because otherwise you get the end result of that rambling that we saw up there. Okay. Thank you to John Fairley, Patty France, the St. Clair College Alumni Association, and everyone involved for this gracious and most appreciated honor. I'm humbled to be standing before you this evening. Throughout my career, I've been fortunate to have a chance to not only do something that I love, but to do something that has the end product that I can share with those closest to me. It's been a career that constantly provides new tasks and challenges, one that brings me to weird, wild places and meets strange new characters, all without leaving my dusty, mildly cluttered desk. I've had the great privilege to work on over 50 films and shows, and that is a testament and credit to those that have helped me along the way. A credit that isn't measured in how much, but certainly how many. I think of my family, my parents and siblings, whose most sincere support and commitment to a shy, insecure boy who just liked to draw faced the world each day. It was from you that I learned first and foremost. Today I have the benefit of an extended family whose sober-minded devotion I can continue to look to for meaningful guidance. I think of my former teachers at St. Clair, Rich, Ron, Jim, and Rose, whose abundant knowledge helped shepherd a raw and undisciplined young artist into something resembling a professional. It was you who showed me how much perseverance, dedication, and just plain hard work it took to succeed. A special double thanks to Rich for the nomination of this award. I think of my colleagues and peers whose incalculable skill and generous spirit of cooperation has allowed me to continue to hone my craft. This industry is very much one of collaboration, where one's work depends on the artists that come before and after, so it's these professional relationships that I've found myself fortunate to have over the years. I think of my wife, Megan, whose compassion and thoughtful understanding has allowed me not only to be a better artist, but a better person. You've put up with some extremely late nights, some 100-hour weeks, some mild anxiety, and for the last several years, a weekly absentee husband. But it's your full-throated support, inspiration, and strength as an artist and partner that has given me such a wonderful purpose. Finally, I've had the great opportunity these past few years to teach part-time here at St. Clair, to continue that generous spirit that was afforded to me. It's with respect and affection of those that have guided me that I hope that I may impart some of that knowledge I've gained along the way. To quote a favorite director of mine, Preston Sturges, "The most incredible thing about my career is that I had one. For this often shy and insecure man, this encouragement is very welcome." Thank you.
Never saw myself as an animator, but I know about the fires. Fires that just don't go out sometimes. Tonight, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Thank you to Richard Harrison, who was here tonight, from our friends at Johnson Insurance, for being tonight's dinner sponsor. Richard, stand up right over there. Thank you to all the Alumni Association for being tonight's event's sponsor. Thank you, Alumni Association Board and Association. Thank you to RBC, Panos Sarkopoulos, as our decorator sponsor. And if you ever know Panos, that's a lot of decorating. And then thank you to Your TV. I got to do this one right. And thank you to Your TV local television on the Cogeco network. We love Your TV, don't we? And Saturday and Sunday, we love them even more at 12 and 6 for face-to-face. And Tuesday at 7:30. And Wednesday, we kick off County Council. I mean, you got to think of this, Mayor and Mr. Warden, both of you. Think about it. If you didn't have us as the lead-in, no one would be watching County Council. All right? Thank you, Mayor. Well, it's not many times in life where you look at yourself in a way other people see you. Well, there it is. You know, I've been working on a lot of things this past year, but our next honoree I had to go visit, and it was just, if I said a step back in time would be none. It was overwhelming. I always thought of myself as bigger than life, and looking at that picture, I now know why. Imagine for over 30 years being able to touch the lives of children. to touch the lives of not just children, children who have special needs in the community, who sometimes have fallen through the crack, who have had needs, whether their hearing, their speech. And even think about it, that a group that we're going to hear about tonight, Connections, helps dads. The dads who sometimes in today's society aren't good at doing the ponytail and getting them ready for church or getting them dressed or matching clothes and making sure they, well, hang on, you don't have to be a dad to have that problem. But anyways, I was saying, sometimes we all struggle with things. But Connections has reached out and has connected so much of our community. Let's watch and learn about our honoree, Barb Brown.
Connections used to be known as St. Mary's Family Learning Center. It actually started in 1984, and we moved to this building in 1986. It was known at that time as a resource center, providing support for families with children 0 to 6 years. It continued to grow and to flourish and to gain some recognition in the mid-1990s. Fraser Mustard actually visited this center and actually identified it as a leading parent center, and a lot of what we did here was modeled in his papers the early years. So we continued to grow and gain recognition. In 2002, we became an Ontario Early Years Center. Still doing the same work of supporting families, just a new name. And then in 2005, we became the lead agency for the Essex Preschool Speech and Language Program, Talk to Me. We also became the lead agency for Infant Hearing Program and the Blind Low Vision Program in 2006 and 2007. One more program that we do is funded by the City of Windsor, Pathway to Potential. It's called Be Back Soon, and we provide very short-term, unlicensed childcare for families who need just 1 or 2 hours to attend appointments. The goal is to get families ready for employment so they're able to go to their doctors and counseling, interviews, job training, and we've been doing that program as well. On any given day, I will take Tuesday, for example. On a Tuesday morning, we have families coming in to attend a parenting course in the morning, and we do some parent-child engagement activities. Parents are then able to go upstairs and support each other, then come back downstairs and continue to do the parent-child engagement activities. After lunch, we run a program called Growing Up, and that's for children who are getting ready to go to school. It's a nice little independent program for them. In the evening, we have our Early On Drop-In Center, and we also run the dads group at that time, and oftentimes we also have a Connections Dads Activity Committee who plans activities for all the families that attend the center. This is the cherry on top of a very fulfilling career, absolutely. And it's when you called me the first time, that's exactly what I thought. 31 years. Never looked for an award. This is not a field where you get appreciated or recognized a great deal because you're down working with the families, and that's why you do it. That's what's meaningful. And so this is my first award, but the best award.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barb Brown.
Thank you, everyone. I'm just going to move John's thing here so mine does not go flying away. You okay?
Oh, you've been bossing everybody around for how many years? So you just, okay. All right, yes, I will do that. Thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to go. Can I go sit down now?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
Some of you know that voice. I am pleased, honored, and humbled to accept this award. A special thank you to St. Clair College Alumni Association for hosting these awards. Thank you. And to my fellow honorees, congratulations. I feel like I'm amongst giants and I've only heard 2 other stories. Can't wait to hear the others. Connections Early Years Family Center is all about families. And I would like to take this moment to say thank you to many people who make up my personal and professional family. First, I would like to thank my parents and 7 siblings who taught me so much growing up. Right now, they're probably a little worried about what I might say about them, but they can relax. I will just say, of the many things I learned, I took away what it means to have good people surround you and always have your back. So thank you. I'd also like to thank my husband, Pat, and children, Sam, Adam and Kaylee, and David, for their ongoing support in all my work. Now, somebody made the mistake of giving me the microphones. I'm going to take 2 seconds and not talk about the award, but just thank Adam and Kaylee for 2 very beautiful grandchildren that are the light of my life. I'll get back to the award now. Thank you to Linda Hill for nominating me and recognizing the exceptional work that Connections does in our community. Giles Andrea, he's an author of a children's book called Giraffes Can't Dance. And he writes, "We all can dance if we find the music that we love." I found my music 31 years ago when I started working at Connections, and I danced with the most amazing and committed staff, board members, volunteers, parents, and families. People like Linda and Val, and Tony, Amy, Kathleen, Sharon, Eva, Carol C., Audra, Krista, Mike H., Carol H., Shannon, Kristen, Katie, Doug, Tim, John, Mike N., who's hiding his head right now, Steve, and many, many, many more people are what makes Connections a great experience. Thank you to all of you. You have made my dancing fun and allowed me to dance like no one was watching. You cheered me on and supported me in my many adventures. Thank you for making Connections a place where we welcome all parents and support them in being the best parent they can be. This is your award as much as it is mine. I'd like to end with 2 messages. First, if you haven't had the chance to come to Connections, I invite you to come check us out. It is worth the trip. And it's all free, by the way. Second, I wish that everyone danced like a toddler. They don't even need music. Thank you.
Well, the tradition continues. Someone got the grandkids into the speeches. You knew it was going to happen. It was just going to be the Who. Imagine working at one company your whole life. One family-run business your whole life. That's amazing. And then compound that with a growing international worldwide company and get all wound up about robots. Not second and thirds, we're talking first robotics. Can you imagine the crowds, the noise, the groups of 60 to 70, 80 high school students and public school students cheering on numbers of robots? Well, there's hope for all of us, isn't it? Well, someone who's well-oiled and been able to tell their story, let's watch the screens and welcome Larry Koschelski.
I think the biggest thing that I got out of my 2 years at St. Clair in combustion at the time, the teachers that we had really helped us get down to critical thinking and how to solve a problem as a team and work together. It really comes back to the teachers that would sit you down and say, how should we approach this problem? We had some great teachers. Roger Baxter was one of the teachers. Tony Dickinson was another one, and they were much more than teachers. They were life coaches at the time. So it was actually Tony Dickinson, one of my instructors, that gave me a lead to knock on the door of Centerline. So I started as a first-year apprentice electrician, and since then moved up through different jobs in the company and so on and so forth, and definitely took the stairs, learned all the different jobs, what we do. It's been a wonderful 35 years working here, and don't really have a retirement date figured out yet, so I'm here for a while yet. What I try and do for the company is identify the areas that we need to either develop a new process or a new product, work with some of these people to help them understand why this is wildly important to the industry and to us as a company, give them some parameters on what I'm looking for and so on, get them really, really inspired and excited about what they're doing, and then I spend time getting out of their way and removing obstacles. So that's, the magic is really to get things started and get a course figured out, but then we have to be flexible as to how we accomplish those things. So the program itself starts really at the beginning of the school year. They start prepping the new students, or the new recruits, if you like, for being part of the team, how to use hand tools, how to do these, different applications. So in January, they get the game is announced, and then they have 6 weeks and a couple of days to come up with their strategy. They have to come up with the design of the robot, make all the parts, assemble all the parts, wire it, program, and be ready to go. What FIRST Robotics does for people is if we can help them ignite some spark in one thing, if a kid can write a few lines of code and then see what happened, and identify that, wow, I did that, I made that happen, or did something mechanically or whatever, that they can put their name on that and say, I did that, I made that happen. Being able to find a passion and kind of live out your dream, working on that like I've been able to do, that's awesome. And Centerline's allowed me to do that. We talk a little bit about FIRST and the committee and so on, but I really have to kind of give a shout out, if you like, to my wife. Of all of us, she's the one that spends the most time with the teams and nurturing new teams and helping with all the questions that the teachers have. And my wife's the one that spends a great deal of time with robotics, and part of what I do is just supporting her.
Hold on to your seats. It's a recipient from the Combustion Technology Mechatronics program. Here's Larry.
So first, I think I need to explain combustion technician. It's always been kind of an odd thing to explain, but it has nothing to do with blowing anything up, so everyone's safe. It really has to do with HVAC units and heating and cooling and air conditioning, and it really turned into a mechatronics program just after that. So anyway, so to clarify that. So anyway, thank you, John. Thank you, President France, St. Clair College Alumni Association, and a special thanks to Daryl Danlon and Ann Hetherington for nominating me. I am very honored to accept this. People are familiar with the term, it takes a village to raise a child. I think it takes a community and a little good luck to have a successful life. I know that I've worked very hard at times. There were very long days, weeks, and a few years that seemed like the load was going to be more that I could bear. But this honor really belongs to the community of people that have supported me over the years in countless ways and continue to support me and my family in various endeavors in the community. Roger Baxter and Tony Dickinson were our main instructors in the combustion program. They provided us with so much more than just technical teaching. They cared about each and every one of us. Tony was actually the one that recommended that I go visit David Beneteau at Centerline. David hired me during my second interview, perhaps only because he didn't know how else to get me to stop talking. I had my speech. I was ready. I practiced my speech, and I went on. I'm going to work hard. I'm not lazy. I went on, and David kept trying to interrupt me and finally just said, I just want to ask you when you want to start. And oh, okay, that's fine. Right, so I let him off the hook. That was over 35 years ago. And it does really seem like my first real job is working out. So I plan on staying. So, okay. The fact is that at Centerline, there's a very long list of people that, like me, have been there for well over 20 years, and it's their first job. And I like to think that there's a statement there all by itself about the company, that there's so many of us that are in that same predicament, in the position. Yeah. Don Beneteau and Fred Waggle started Centerline in 1957, and they created a very, very special culture that the Beneteau family still works very hard to maintain and protect. As a team, we care about each other, the community, and of course our customers, but we also know that they care very deeply about us. The culture provides us the opportunity to be challenged, make some mistakes, learn from them, and grow as a person. Many years ago, I went to visit Don one day with a proposed solution to a problem that we were having. And after I explained what my idea was, he looked up and he said, okay, let's try it. But you remember, whether this works or whether it doesn't, it was your idea. In other words, you own it, whether it works or not. It worked. That one idea worked. Not all of them worked. Michael reminds me once in a while about nut flippers, but we won't get into that tonight. The whole team at Centerline is incredibly supportive, and I really am blessed to work with such great people. Whether it's developing new technology or process, supporting a customer need, or volunteering at first events, they always came through. The Beneteau family, who basically let me be an entrepreneur with their money, have taught me leadership skills, technical skills, and so many life lessons that have helped shape who I am today. They're also so incredibly supportive of our work with FIRST Robotics. And as I look back, I really can't believe how my career and my life has unfolded. And I really can't imagine how that could have happened without them. Our FIRST Robotics family, who seem to be well represented tonight with the help of my wife, I think. The wonderful group at Windsor-Essex FIRST Robotics, the teachers, the students, all the wonderful sponsors in our community, and the group at FIRST Canada. Our close friends and family that are always there for us to support us and be very understanding when we all disappear for a few months each winter for FIRST Robotics. Our 4 kids, Joel, Ian, Aaron, and Jaylene, that are all amazing and incredibly talented and also deeply involved in FIRST Robotics. It really, really has become the family business. Finally, my hero, my amazing wife of almost 34 years, Sherry Lynn. She's the one that does all the heavy lifting when it comes to FIRST Robotics and anything else involving kids. She sets such a wonderful example of service to others for our kids. With scouts and guides and FIRST and everything else that she does in the community, I really don't know how you find the energy. I don't know how you put up with me for so long. I love you. So, although it's me up here right now, there really is a whole community around me that is part of this distinction. And I'm blessed that all of you are part of my life and support me in so many wonderful ways. Thank you.
When you hear the stories of in the need of time, when I needed someone, they were there. When there's an emergency, when there's a tragedy, I need EMS. I need our fire department. We need our ambulance service, obviously EMS, our police, the people who serve. Today you're going to hear about someone who has helped those that need to be served in Windsor, Essex, and some amazing things that our next honoree had a hand in doing. So let's watch the video and meet our next honoree, Justin Lammers.
My official title is Deputy Chief of Professional Standards with Essex Windsor EMS. My department, we oversee legislative compliance, so we make sure what we're doing is in line with the ministry's expectations. Any changes to legislation, we're responsible for packaging that up, educating our staff on it. Quality assurance is another big one, so our big programs such as STEMIs, which is heart attacks, strokes, traumas, we review all those cases. We make sure that what we're doing out there as paramedics is meeting the gold standard and making sure that we're providing the right care to the community. The other thing that we do in professional standards is investigations. So any complaints that come in, we review the investigations, we meet with our staff, try to find some learning opportunities there moving forward. On top of that, professional standards is the house for the Vulnerable Patient Navigator program, where we reach out to people proactively in our community who may be falling through the cracks of the healthcare system. We make sure they have the resources that they need to live a healthy lifestyle. And we draw that data from the people who are calling our service greater than 3 times in a set amount of time. So the defibrillator program, where that came from, bystander intervention is key. We spent a lot of time going out to the community, mapping out where all the defibrillators were. A lot of our frontline staff helped with that. So we had this database of all these defibrillators that we've placed, and I think we've mapped close to 300 of them. So when somebody calls 911 and says, hey, somebody's not breathing, or I think somebody suffered a cardiac arrest, the ambulance communications officer on the other end can say, you're at this location, go to the front desk, there's a defibrillator there, and walk the bystander through providing CPR and defibrillation, which we know bystander-assisted CPR and public bystander intervention is key to saving lives. Again, it's shifting back to integrating all the resources we have in our community for the best chance. We got to break down those silos. We all have to work together and find those efficiencies. The third project was the business proof of concept that we ran with the Ministry of Health, Emergency Health Services branch, and it was taking the data from our dispatch center. We would take their data and we're actually now transmitting it to the units for the paramedics. Now when the paramedics get a call, they have a map and it pings where the location is and gives them direct routes. As well as when the paramedic pulls up their electronic patient care record, a lot of the demographics and a lot of the information that they would normally have to input is put into the record already, so they don't have to worry about pickup location, where they traveled, how they traveled. Now we don't have, at human error, sometimes we can put the wrong key in. Now it's concise across the board. St. Clair College was a turning point for me in life. It was an opportunity for me to be a part of something bigger. It was a point in my life where I knew I had to get serious and I had to put my nose to the grindstone and get it done. My success is attributed to the instructors, from Greg Skomash to John Lasseline, Carolyn Ross, Dan Chauvin, the integral parts of the program at that time. Specifically John Lasseline, some of the key concepts he taught me, I still use them to this day in some of the decisions we make at this organization. The teachers were always there. If we wanted to stay late, they were able to help us. We had questions on the weekend, we were able to call them. It was tough love. There was, like I said, there was no gimmies, there was no breaks, but they taught it in a way that made it enjoyable, and it really was everlasting. I was able to get the Academic Excellence Award at the end of my graduation, as well as Student Leadership, which for me was a turning point in life, saying, you know, I can do it. If I apply myself and I take it seriously, I can do it. And that stuck with me for the rest of my life.
Deputy Chief Justin Lammers, everybody.
Thank you, John, and thank you to St. Clair College, the Alumni Association, and everybody who puts this event on. I really didn't know what to expect coming here tonight, and I'm truly blown away at this event. In my job, you know, we get into the nitty-gritty, we get down to the fine details, and the one thing that resonates with me right now with that video is my collar was out of place on the side, and I got it straight this time, but unfortunately I know that's going to be embedded in YouTube, and I'm looking at that for a long time. I'd first like to say I'm incredibly humbled to be up here right now accepting this award, and as I said in the video, St. Clair College was a massive turning point for me in life, and to be accepted in the Alumni of Distinction group, for me is quite exciting, and it means a lot. You see, when I graduated high school, I didn't have a clear path. I poked around at a few options, but nothing really grabbed my attention. And I was just a kid who was lost at the entry point into the real world, and that big door in front of you that says choose your focus. I hadn't even learned how to focus, and my wife would argue that's still a learning process for me. But how at that point was I going to choose something? I got into EMS because late one night I was coming home with some friends, and I responded to an accident just by chance being there. And some paramedics pulled up and, you know, saved this person who was in some big trouble. And I couldn't believe it. I said, this you get paid to do this? This is actually an employment opportunity. It was fascinating. I've always loved people. I loved interacting with others, and this was a great opportunity to be a part of something bigger in life. I was accepted into the paramedic program, and for all intents and purposes, this was an all or none principle. I was going to succeed, and there was no other option. I remember my mindset at that time. It was something I've never seen before. It was going to happen. St. Clair College stood behind me. They offered me the resources I needed to get the job done. The instructors took their time to educate and facilitate my learning, and although I didn't realize it at the time, looking back, it's all very clear. This was a system that, you know, it gives you everything you need to succeed. All you have to do is live up to your end of the bargain, and that's show up and work hard. And work hard I did. I graduated with awards in student leadership and academic excellence, and all that from a kid that was lost and didn't know where to go 2 years prior. I'd be remiss if I didn't recall some self-doubt with being lost, and maybe that's what had me confused. But St. Clair College showed me that by working hard I could achieve, I could set a goal and succeed, and as St. Clair College says, start here and go anywhere. That's when life took a different course, and that's when I had the confidence to tell myself I could do better and I could achieve goals I set my mind to. And this is no different than when I started working at Essex Windsor EMS. Within the first year, I looked at the management structure and I said, I want to be a part of that team. Whether I realized it or not, I started making small goals for myself, putting myself in positions where I could stand out, better the organization, and be seen as a worthy applicant should the job opportunity arise. And I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a lot of fun along the way. To my mom and dad, my entire life I watched you work hard and provide for the family. In times of adversity, you stood up and got the job done, and whether you realized it or not, I was watching the whole time. And whether or not I realized it, my mind was creating a blueprint for normalcy in those difficult times. By virtue of you doing what you had to do to keep things moving, you gave me the skills I needed to keep moving. There's no price tag to put on that, and there's no educational institution that can teach that. Those are life skills, and I thank you for every one of those. To my wife, Lindsay, thank you for motivating me to continually push myself and always supporting me during those transitions, some of them being difficult. And thank you for always believing in me. Whether you mean it or not, it truly is your words of encouragement that tilt the scales from doubt to action. Maybe you should have gone into sales. my children, Leah and Jax. In hindsight, life was empty before you both came along. Don't get me wrong, Mom and Dad had a lot of fun before you guys came along. But you've shown us a side of life that shifted our purpose more than anything in the past. You two mean the world to me, and there's no better job than being your dad, and I mean that 100%. Nothing makes me prouder than to walk into this room with you guys on my arm. And thank you for always stepping up and getting the job done. And as we say at home, everybody does a little so nobody has to do a lot. To the rest of my family here with me tonight, I thank each and every one of you for your patience and support over the years. I know the going can get tough at times, but y'all keep hanging out with me, so I must be doing something right. To the entire team at the County of Essex and Essex Windsor EMS, it's important that we never forget that all the work that we do each and every day is incredibly important. It's viewed with respect from the public and has a profound impact on our community. It's easy for us to get lost in the ups and downs of our everyday duties, but one thing always stands true, and that's the fact that no matter what is going on, we're all mission focused, and I'm immensely proud to be a part of this team. And lastly, to Chief Crowder, who can't be here tonight, but I know he'll watch the Coach Go replay. I'll make sure of it. Chief Crowder, or as we call him when nobody else is around, Bruce. Thank you for taking a chance on me. Thank you for the opportunity to serve under you, and thanks for your guidance, mentorship, and patience. In particular, the patience. I know it can be a lot to handle at times. Our organization is the best it's ever been because of you, and it's important that you know that. Thank you.
So I'll say hi to Bruce then? Okay, I'll tell him who told me to say hi to Bruce. You know, when we get these nominations in and you start reading them and you try to figure out, okay, this person did what? Information technology is what? He does what? Coding? Coding? Whew. Wow. After meeting Nicholas Segan, I didn't really think a lot about coding anymore. There was other things from the visit. The coding thing and the information technology kind of just went over top of me, and I will never forget being able to drive up and walk in. Oh, the world headquarters of Domino's Pizza. Oh. But let's go back to, coding, yes. Coding and what you're able to do, and you take this IT, and, you know, I'm in charge of IT, or, pardon me, excuse me, Madam President. IT reports to me. For a few years, I've just learned how to spell IT. But I don't understand what's going on. But this one over here, this president of ours, ran the department for a lot of years, so she's only just one room away, so I can ask. But what an amazing, amazing story of many know Tom Monahan. If you're a Blue Jays fan, sorry, but this was an owner of the Detroit Tigers. And he was also owner, if you remember, of the Detroit Tigers, and built this big, huge corporate offices out in Ann Arbor. Wow. They're so big, they even got buffalo and bison. But that's a whole other story, and has nothing, they don't feed them pizza. Anyways, enough of all this. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicholas Segan.
When I was getting to the end of my high school career, I had to make some tough choices. It was a new exciting program at the college for information systems technology. It was a 3-year program. It was experimental. We had to buy a fancy new laptop, and so I was very excited about that. Getting that first entry-level position is so hard when you're a new grad, and it wasn't hard with St. Clair. I took part in the co-op program there, which was fantastic. I made a bunch of professional connections through the co-op office there. I worked at Windsor Mold and a couple other tool and die type locations. And so I was already applying a lot of the skills that I already learned. And Domino's had an opening here for application architect, and they were doing really, really cool things, and I was really excited. And I had lived local to Ann Arbor at that time because I had eventually immigrated to the United States to pursue opportunities here. And I've absolutely loved it. I didn't even know that we had this super cool, essentially Google-esque tech campus right here in our backyard. Domino's is a pizza company, but it's also a tech company, and it's been first to embrace technology. And ironically, going back to my roots about being a just-in-time manufacturing problem, we make pizza instead of car parts. And so a lot of that historic knowledge of way back when I was working as a junior analyst in college applies even now to a lot of the things we're working on here. Mr. Monahan, who is the big innovator, and he still wanders around the building, and I think he still owns Domino Farms. So it's a pleasure to see him wandering around. There's a lot of Tigers paraphernalia downstairs. You can see a seat from the old Tiger Stadium, things like that. So it's pretty exciting. We have all kinds of really interesting things here on campus. There's actually a herd of American bison in the back that's managed. The Domino Farms building is inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright Prairie House. Mr. Monahan was a big fan of Frank Lloyd Wright, so I think that's what inspired this building. So here at the WRC, it was important, if you come in, you can see that we have a pizza theater on the main floor, and it's visible from all 4 floors of the building, all with glass. And I think that was really important because it's the center of what we do. All team members have the opportunity to go through what we call pizza prep school and actually, learn how we make a pizza, go learn operations, work with our point of sale system, the computer systems in the store. It's really important because when we're designing, online experiences, in-store digital experiences, changing our operations. It's as an application architect or a business analyst or a software engineer, you can really lose touch with reality and what's actually going on in the store and the frustrations and difficulties involved with something as difficult as stretching dough. It's the realities of stretching dough. And so having that personal insight to how much physical work is involved, the actual time constraints on getting that fresh, hot product out the door as soon as possible, and consistency and all those things, it really gives perspective to those of us who aren't necessarily in store all day long or even familiar with standing on our feet for 8 hours washing dishes. So it's really, really good perspective, and it's a kind of a wonderful special thing that we offer here. So my favorite pizza is thin crust with Alfredo sauce, spinach, bacon, onion. Family and child welfare is something that's definitely been important to Kristen and myself. It's something that we felt passionate about since we were young, and having to overcome challenges that young people often have to face from difficult home situations. We became involved in the foster care system, well over a decade ago, kind of by accident. Through our local church, we took a not official foster, and then from then it led to all kinds of other things, and we ended up having 34 children total, including our biological children that we've had over the years. Fostering is really, really hard. I'm never going to tell anybody that it's not probably the hardest thing you will ever do. I will tell you that you have an impact on children and families and society in a way that's not really measurable. The way you can impact your local community for generations to come by having that positive impact, if even only for 6 months or a year, while a family was going through a crisis situation. Being supportive to families who are going through unimaginable difficulties. Most of the staff here at the WRC is actually IT staff, and it can really be easy to get disconnected from the core business what we do. So they always say, if you're not making it, baking it, or taking it, then you're supporting those that do. And those of us in IT definitely support those that do.
Everyone, let's welcome Nicholas Segan.
Good evening to all my fellow honorees, event organizers, and everyone in attendance tonight. I'm truly humbled and by the honor bestowed on me this evening. I'd like to take a moment to thank the St. Clair College Board of Governors and President France, the St. Clair College Alumni Association and their Board of Directors, and St. Clair College, the college itself, for being such a tremendously important community resource. Especially John, who personally guided me through this process and took his time out of his busy schedule to have one-on-one time with each of tonight's honorees. I'd like to thank some forward-thinking folks at the Ministry of Education during my elementary and high school years. I don't know who you are, but thanks to the special programs and funding during the course of my education here in Ontario, I was exposed to technology and given the opportunity to learn skills that built a foundation of interest and knowledge that always seemed to build to the next level. I've often had access to the latest technology in school, and with teachers trained and preparing me for 21st century jobs well before the turn of the millennium, by the way. I'd like to thank those dedicated teachers from kindergarten all the way through to my college instructors. It was also wonderful to be reunited with some of them tonight, and who shared their valuable knowledge and experience while providing the opportunity for me to learn and grow. I'd like to thank my children, who've always shown patience and understanding and sacrifice during whatever crazy ideas that mom and dad had next. Whether you're teaching other children how to play, how to imagine, dream, feel happy, feel safe, or having a sympathetic ear to someone who's felt scared and alone. You always demonstrated such grace and wisdom beyond your years. I'm so very proud of you all. To my wife, who's always been the keystone and driving force in my life, from when we first met in grade 9, and you saw potential in me that I didn't know was there. You immediately began to nurture it, water it, help it grow beforehand, so before that, so very few had noticed. I wouldn't be the man, husband, father, and professional I am today if it weren't for you. 20 years ago, next March, we married. It was actually during my first spring break at St. Clair College that we ran away to Jamaica and got married. And it's been an amazing adventure ever since. I can't wait to see how the rest of the story plays out. Although your nurturing and growing of my confidence is more of a pruning exercise today, thank you for your continued love and support. I need it more than ever. So as you know, foster care has, of course, touched our family very closely. But many people may not know that in the US, May is Foster Care Awareness Month, and we're currently in May. There are approximately 12,000 children in Ontario and 14,000 children in Michigan currently in care. Nationally, there are over 60,000 in Canada and 400,000 in the United States. These statistics are staggering, but more than that, they represent actual children and real lives. And families in crisis. It doesn't take much to push a struggling family into crisis, especially when these families are dealing with complex issues like poverty, scarcity, lack of mental illness, treatment options, addiction, and often complicated by punitive incarcerations. Often these issues facing these families are generational, and breaking these cycles is complex, requiring a variety of community supports, the least of which, and the last, should be removal. I would encourage everyone tonight to take an inventory of your time, talents, and pocketbook. What can you contribute to family preservation and child welfare in your community? The answer will be different for everyone, but it's important that we each question ourselves periodically because our future of our community depends on it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nick. Look at that. Those kids are just so pleased. How about a round of applause for Nick and his family that have done so well tonight in the front tables without a soother. Not bad. I just love the idea. Just think about this, President France. A pizza theater. Now, we love our Chrysler Theater down here, but could you imagine bringing a pizza theater? Okay, keto for you. Keto. She likes keto. Don't worry, we've lived it. Trust me on this. Everybody, I would be remiss without thanking all of our honorees and for your stories that have shone across this room and across Windsor-Essex, Chatham-Kent, and obviously across the border to Michigan even. This is what we do at St. Clair College. Our retirees are here. We have a table of retirees, faculty. Faculty are here. Our table full of our chairs are here. Our support staff are here. Our administration are here. Our boards are all here. And this is what we do. We invest. We give the foundation, our faculty and our teams and our support staff build the foundations that will help catapult you to some amazing stories. How about 6 stories tonight? That's what St. Clair College does. That's why we're growing to be a destination college, right here in Windsor-Essex and Chatham-Kent, right? I want to say a special thank you to our team in our advancement office, Marianne Burke and Brendan Segan, Holly Nicholson, Media Services, Mike Poirier, Circlebox Communication, again, all the staff and chefs here. But most importantly, this year I want to just thank a special person, Ann Hetherington, who after 19 years of being part of our story at St. Clair College, stand up, Ann, she's right at the back. Media Services report to you, so they better get a good picture of you. But thank you, she's retiring in a couple of weeks, and 19 years of service at the college. A good team member. So thank you. And if you know anybody, this is for you at home, if you know anybody that would be a great recipient of the 2020 Alumni of Distinction honorees, you will put the information right there in front of me, right here. Please nominate them at stclairalumni.com. Again, thank you. Good night, everybody, and thanks for coming.